A logo, ACB in print and braille, American Council of the Blind, together for a bright future. 63rd Annual National Conference and Convention. Banquet, Thursday, July 11th, 2024. In a large ballroom, an audience of banquet attendees sit at round tables around the room. At the front of the room is a head table. Sheila Young, chair of the Florida Host Committee, addresses the audience.
All right.
I know you turned this down, right?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the 63rd ACB National Conference and Convention in Jacksonville, Florida. I am Sheila Young, and I am the immediate past president of FCB, and Mikey Wiseman sends his greetings as president. And I am the chair of the host committee, and we are so excited that you guys are here. Have you had a good time? That's all that matters. We are so happy that this week has gone so well. We are going to introduce the head table after we eat. So I would like to ask everyone to have a moment of reflection, please. Thank you. Deb said that there was a set of earbuds with a USB cable found in the meeting room this afternoon. If they are yours, what do you want them to do, Deb? Okay, Deb will have them up here at the head table after we are done. So we're going to go ahead, enjoy your dinner, and we will be back. All right. How was your dinner?
So good, so good.
All right. I do want to tell everybody that there's a box by your plate. They were donated by Vanda Pharmaceuticals, and they are phone holders, and they are awesome. But when you open them, thank you, Vanda. When you open them, you're like, okay, how does this become a phone holder? So you have to use your thumb to kind of pull it apart at one side. And which side is it? The curved, the side that has the curve on it. Pull it out, and it will stand up, and it will hold your phone, which is really cool. So thank you, Vanda. So As I said, I am Sheila Young, and it is an honor to be your MC for tonight. At this time, I would like to introduce who is here at the head table. And on my left is this crazy man called Scott Thornhill, who is our new executive director. Thank you very much. To his left is Kenneth Surratt, our international guest from Thailand, right?
Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I heard you speak. I seriously heard you speak. I'm sorry. And his wife is next to him, Ferosa. So welcome. And then to my right is my wonderful sister, Patty Cordell, who drove back from Orlando tonight to be here. You couldn't ask for a better sister, let me tell you. And then to her right is our wonderful president, Deb Cook-Lewis. And to her right is our lovely auctioneer, Miss Leslie Spoon. And to her right is the other Spoon, Dan Spoon, who is, we all know what he does, right? And then to his right is James Green with J.P. Morgan Chase. So at this time, I would like to ask BOP reps Zelda Gebhardt, Cache Wells, and Katie Frederick to come forward to present our BOP awards. All raffle tickets are sold. So good luck to everyone, including me. So, all right. And after they're done presenting, Connie and Carrie, you might want to be ready to come forward. So.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your dinner. I am Katie Frederick, the newly appointed returning chair to the BOP. And tonight it is my pleasure to help present awards. Each year, the ACB Board of Publications presents 3 awards that honor excellence in writing and media. So the award that I want to present this evening is the Vernon Henley Award. And all of the awards are awesome, but Vernon Henley is one that I think is particularly special. The Vernon Henley Award honors the media who portray people who are blind or low vision in a positive light. And I don't know about you, but I think we could all use more of that, right? Yes. So this evening, we are presenting the Vernon Henley Award to Jamie Tanner from the New York Times, who worked on image descriptions and improving accessibility for readers of the New York Times. So let's congratulate Jamie. And I don't think Jamie could join us tonight, but we will get the plaque to her. And to read the plaque, I will turn it over to Sharon Lovering.
The plaque reads, Vernon Henley Media Award presented to Jamie Tanner in recognition of her dedication to assuring the accessibility of news articles, photos, and graphics in the New York Times. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Sharon, did you write that?
All right, good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening. The BOP has the privilege to read some great articles from April to March that share unique experiences, bring valued attention to blindness issues, and encourage us all to be empowered through our journeys. Tonight, I have the privilege of awarding the Nettie Freeman Excellence in Writing Award, which is awarded for an individual piece of work displaying the mastery of the craft of writing, which is a major consideration. This interesting subject matter, originality in experiences and recounting an experience for novelty and appropriate approach to why we are presenting tonight for the article, which is well-crafted, well-articulated, for stunned silence, variety of language, and lots of laughter too. Gary Legates for his article, Humor, a Blind Teacher's Friend. Congratulations to you. And Sharon is going to read what that particular award says. Thank you.
The Nettie Freeman Excellence in Writing Award presented to Gary Legates for his article, Humor, a Blind Teacher's Friend, which demonstrates how humor can enhance learning in even the most mundane classroom activities. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Good evening. It is my privilege as a part of the BOP to give our 3rd award, and it is also a Writing Excellence Award. This award is the Hollis Liggett Award, and it is given to a publication of one of our affiliates, either a state affiliate or a special interest affiliate. And there's all kinds of criteria you have to meet to get this award. The number of individuals who have contributed to your publication. And we have widened that so it isn't just a newsletter, but it can be other forms of communication with your members. So it is my pleasure to introduce and to announce the winner of the 2024 Hollis Liggett Award, and that goes to the next generation. So I would like the chair of their publications committee, Greg Lindberg, to come up to the stage and accept this award. All right, Melanie Sonoy, I know you're on the publications committee, and anybody else who's on the publications committee, come on up. All right, and I know Amanda Selm, the president, is not here. I want a next-gen member to come up to the stage, please. No, Amanda's not here. She left home. Terry Lynn, come on up. Okay, we'll send it home with you. Sharon will read what the plaque says.
The Hollis Liggett Braille Free Press Award, presented to ACB Next Generation in recognition of affiliate newsletter excellence. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
All right. Congratulations, BOP winners. Yay. So now we will have our awards committee presentation by Connie Sims and Carrie Muth. So are you ladies up here? Yes, sir. Connie, you here? Yep, okay. Right here. Hi, Carrie. Hi.
Hello, everybody. It is this is Carrie Muth. I'm co-chair of the awards committee, and a great group of members. We have Janet Dickelman, yay, on our committee, and Peter Ulchel, Ann Brash, Jean. Oh my gosh, what's her last name? Jean Mann, sorry. we'll claim chemo brain. And Sharon Levering is our staff liaison, and Colin Sims, co-chair. And you know, it's a great honor working with these people, and it's really a committee where some ACB history knowledge is really important when we discuss the winners, and we appreciate everybody sending in their nominations for the awards. And I'll turn it over to Connie right now.
Thanks, Carrie. So I would like to have Dan Spoon come up, and he is going to present. We had an award last year, and this organization was not available to be here last year, and we are honored to have them here this year. So Dan is going to present the 2023 to this award.
I'm the opposite of the quiet talker in the group. So you know, in ACB, we always talk about our core values. And two of those core values are collaboration and flexibility. And I really am excited tonight to present last year's Jim Olson Award, because we had a little confusion at getting, connected with J.P. Morgan Chase last year. But we really wanted to take the opportunity to thank them for an amazing amount of work that they've done. They won the Jim Olson Award in 2023 for their accessibility of their app for online banking. So for those of you who use JP Morgan's Chase online banking app, it's fantastic, isn't it? And I was telling James Green, who is the JP Morgan Chase representative, in our conversation at dinner, it was kind of an interesting story because John McCann nominated JP Morgan Chase, and he called me 1 month as my kind of acting as the interim executive director and said, Dan, we have a problem. I've got my JP Morgan Chase app, and I've got a bug, and it's not giving my mortgage total, my banking account balance, and I just put them in for an award. And I was like, okay, John. So he said, what is ACB going to do about it? I said, well, John, have you called JP Morgan's Chase accessibility line to talk to them about it? He said, let me give them a call and see how that works out. And then he called me back 2 days later and said, Dan, it's all fixed. He said, this is why I nominated them for the Jim Olson Award, because they really take accessibility seriously. And so we are really honored tonight to meet James Green. He is the global lead for accessibility and consumer and community engagement across JP Morgan Chase. We were over there talking WCAG and accessibility and alt tags. This man walks the walk and talks the talk. Please give a big round of applause for James Green. Dan, they call me Dan?
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You know, when we were talking, Dan and I were discussing how there was a little bit of mix-up, and we got this, in the mail, and then I was able to come here. But I told him, things work out for a reason, and I'm actually fairly new. I've been at Chase about 1.5 years, and so a year ago, I was there, and I did get the plaque, and I keep it in my office. But I, again, hadn't been that involved with the company yet. I was still learning. And so I really appreciated having this extra year to just learn about the company, learn about the team, what we do for accessibility. As he said, things get fixed very quickly. The company takes it very seriously. And it was just, I'm so pleased to have made the choice to be on the team. Prior to Chase, I was at another company, Visa, for 16 years. And so we were discussing how leaving somewhere after 16 years can be tough. But when I started there, I was actually a user researcher and got into accessibility at Visa. And user research, when you're doing design, one of the basic kind of the science behind it, if you will, is something called the VIM model, VIMM. And the goal behind the VIM model, behind user experience and usability, is to reduce visual, intellectual, memory, and motor effort for your users. So if you can reduce the effort in those 4 areas, then it's scientifically, I guess, it's more usable. And what I found when I got into accessibility was it is, the mechanics are different, the skills are obviously very different, but at the heart, it's the same thing as usability, right? It's just in this case of accessibility, sometimes you're not talking about making it a little more usable. You're talking about making it possible at all. And for me, that's why I was so pleased that I was able to come over to Chase about 1.5 years ago and focus solely on accessibility. So that's all I do. I have a fantastic team. I did bring some notes, so I want to be able to thank some teams because, again, it's a big company and a lot of people have been involved and have been doing this and partnering with y'all for years, and I didn't do any of it. I just get to come here and have a fun time and receive this plaque. But I just wanted to thank the American Council of the Blind very much for selecting us for this award. And I wanted to highlight JP Morgan Chase's official purpose, to make dreams possible for everyone, everywhere, every day. And that word everyone for me is paramount. For nearly 200 years, JP Morgan Chase has been trusted by our customers to put their best interests first. And this award recognizes the dedication and efforts of countless employees who have done just that. Put our customers, all of our customers, first, so that we can be, and we say that, I hear this every day when I'm on Zoom calls, we want to be the bank for everyone. And so, it's quite a large company, and so there have been a lot of teams and a lot of folks have been working on this, so I can't thank them all. But I just did want to recognize my team. We call ourselves Digital Accessibility. Our teammates, our partners, our counterparts across various lines of business, product, design, technology, data, and analytics. Our employee experience digital accessibility team. Our Office of Disability Inclusion, which I know partners with y'all here very much. Our Force for Good team, which also partners with ACB. Okay, yeah, we got some applause there, yeah. Employee accommodations, employee assistive technology, as well as our multimedia accessibility services, customer accessibility services, our accessibility policy, legal and controls teams, our branch innovation team, which my team has been working really closely with in the last year to do a lot of research in our branches to try to make our physical experiences even more accessible, and our accessibility employee resource group for employees with various disabilities. So thank you again for recognizing us with this very prestigious and important award. I am truly honored to accept the James R. Olson Distinguished Service Award on behalf of JP Morgan Chase. Thank you all very much. All right, got it.
All right, let's give a huge round of applause for James and JP Morgan Chase. Hey, hey. All right. Oop. Let's see here. All right. Okay, back to you, Connie? All right. Oh, Carrie.
Hey. So, we give out several awards of recognition every year, and the two easiest ones happen to be the Affiliate and Membership Growth Awards, and these are strictly based on numbers. And so it's the greatest percentage of membership growth in an affiliate and the greatest number. And this year, the affiliate that won this follows only one other in the history that we know of in 2019. Next Gen 1, no. Oh, the students. Sorry, students. Sorry, ACB students. Won both awards. And so this year, it is our great privilege to recognize Blind Information Technology Specialists. Yay! Jeff Bishop. Jeff Bishop, will you come up to the stage, please? And Sharon Lovering will read the plaque for us.
Affiliate Growth Award, presented to Blind Information Technology Specialists in recognition of the largest number and the largest percentage of membership increase in 2024. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Now, Jeff.
Jeff just left the room.
He's on the wrong side of the stage.
We're fetching him, folks. Hold on.
He was running away. Running away with a smile.
You guys moved yourselves.
Yeah. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, everyone. You know, this could not have been done without the tremendous efforts of the leadership team of Blind Information Technology Specialists. We literally put in thousands of hours of volunteer time to be able to accomplish this goal. And it's through the tremendous efforts of the family of BITS that we were able to accomplish this. So this award is for all of you and what we represent. Thank you so very much, everyone.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Sharon has your plaque. All right, so are we ready for the next one? The Margarine G. Beeman Award. This individual has been a member of the local, state, and the national affiliate for many years. This person began volunteering, working on Brenda Dillon Memorial Walk. This individual has worked on the auction committee. This person also is part of their state auction committee, raising an awesome amount of funds for the state and the ACB National. Since the pandemic began and the community calls started, this individual has been doing calls 5 days a week, working on behalf of the ACB Get Up and Get Moving committee. Is chair or co-chair to committees both on state and national levels. She didn't hesitate to step up to co-chair a national committee when the chair resigned. She takes the volunteering seriously, tirelessly, works so hard, and as always does it with a smile on her face. We congratulate Leslie Spoon as the Margarine G. Beeman Award. Come on over here, girl. Oh my God. Congratulations.
Oh my God. Oh my. I am speechless. Oh. I think. Thank you, everybody. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I can't say enough to Cindy Hollis, which when I met her was Cindy Van Winkle, and Jeff Tom and Brenda Dillon that taught me everything about auctioning. Thank you. I love this organization and I love auctions, so keep up the good work. Keep bidding, keep donating. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. And Sharon's going to read the plaque.
Margarine G. Beeman Volunteer Award, presented to Leslie Spoon in recognition of her continued support and involvement in ACB community and fundraising activities. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
My home state.
Great. Way to go, Leslie.
All right, next one, the James R. Olson Distinguished Service Award. This organization offers many programs for both persons who are sight and hearing impaired. The mission statement is to provide facilities, programs, services, including social, educational, recreational activities for people who are blind or visually impaired. Over the past few years, this organization has reached many of our ACB members through offering community calls on a vast variety of topics such as sight and hearing loss group chat, forgetfulness tips and tricks, food and beyond the recipe, crafting with Desiree Christian, tell us your story, the happy workout with Lynn, the chat cafe, navigating social situations, First Friday with friends and family, the support group for sighted families. As you can see, this organization has provided many education and safe places for our I had to switch the page. Members in different areas and has certainly shown that they care about persons who, blind and visually impaired and deafblind. Congratulations, Carrie.
Congratulations, the whole foundation and Learning Center.
Monica, would you please come up?
You want to say her name?
Monica?
Yeah, Monica Butler, please join us. It was kind of sneaky to get her here. She's the executive director of Whole Foundation and Learning Center. We weren't too sneaky. I called her and she's like, oh, I want to come. It was sneaky with nobody else finding out.
Sharon will read the plaque.
James R. Olson Distinguished Service Award, presented to the Hull Foundation and Learning Center in recognition of the programs and services provided to all blind and deafblind individuals. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Thank you so. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I just have to put myself together for a second. Oh, okay, that helped. I want to take a moment to thank the American Council of the Blind for this award. It is an honor to be chosen. Okay. Being the executive director of the Hull Foundation and Learning Center has given me the opportunity to offer so many different classes, seminars, events, retreats to those who are blind or have sight loss and live all over the country. I couldn't do this without the help of our sight loss instructors, tech specialists, program staff, and office staff. I would like to personally thank so sorry. The following people for all of their hard work and support. Michael Babcock. Matthew Bendel, Marja Byers, Desiree Christian, Teresa Christian, Tina Christian, Tawny Kofer, Hayel Espinal McCoskey, Todd Falstrom, Ellen Feynman, Kriana Gallegos, Megan Moore, Marty Sobo, Andrea Thorsel, Gail Webb, and Tyann Wilmoth. I would also like to thank our board members and volunteers who are there to support myself and the foundation. Our groundskeeping crew, Jerry Jones, Dan Kaufman, Steve Flora, and a special thanks to my husband, Randy, for standing by my side for over 37 years and supporting me in everything I do. Thank you again for honoring the Whole Foundation and Learning Center.
No, we got more.
You got more?
We got more.
All right, now it's the Robert S. Bray Award. This individual's presence on the World Wide Web is ever present, and in fact, it would be hard to find many blind or low vision people who cannot point to this individual with gratitude as the person who introduced them to various assistive technology. This person first helped ACB enter the arena of internet radio with programming on ACB radio and has favorably expanded and enhanced ACB's reputation across the world. This individual has been making life better for people who are blind by informing us, entertaining us, encouraging us to share what we know, what we read, how we feel, and why we celebrate with one another. This person's blog posts is widely read, and many of us can point to the things we have learned that have changed our lives for the better. The information this individual has provided is especially important to people with dual sensory loss, has not been available. This individual has launched a podcast that provides 2 hours of thoroughly relevant information for people who are blind every week, and no matter where they live, what organization they do or don't belong to, and wherever they are in their blindness journey. This person truly delegates his life to working with and for people who are blind. This person has made a real difference in many of our lives. Congratulations to Jonathan Mosen. Do we have him on Zoom, I believe?
Yes, he is.
And we'll have Sharon read the plaque.
Robert S. Bray Award, presented to Jonathan Mosen in recognition of his many years of improving the accessibility of technology for blind people throughout the world. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Thank you so much. Good evening again, ACB. Thank you very much to the American Council of the Blind for this award, which I'm honored to accept with gratitude. There is, of course, a difference between awards and rewards. Awards like this are very special and not very frequent, but I'm fortunate to be rewarded by the work that I've done every day, particularly through internet radio projects I've established, or tutorials that I've put together, or things that I've said or written that have made people think. My greatest reward is seeing other blind people thriving, perhaps doing things that they always wanted to do, but weren't sure that they could. Playing a role in helping someone live their best life is a privilege. It's particularly special to me to receive such a prestigious award in this of all years, because next Wednesday will be the 20th anniversary of the first episode of the first ever global call-in show for the blind community, Blind Line. Now, Doug Joffre, then of GW Micro, was my first guest, and man, was I nervous. And on the 1st of December of this year, it will be the 25th anniversary of me pressing the button that launched ACB Radio. That was a special time, because it was devising the playbook, building the infrastructure, and figuring out what global blindness media should be like. ACB can be rightly proud of the world-leading role that it played in developing blindness media for the internet age. It was exciting, it was frenetic, innovative, and a special time, and it raised ACB's global profile significantly. I have many fond memories of the people that I worked with and the conventions that I covered. No one is an island, so in accepting this award, I do so with thanks for the many people that I've had the privilege of working with over the years. In particular, I want to thank the ACB radio broadcasters during my tenure, the amazing dedicated team of fun guys at Mushroom FM, and our little Living Blindfully team, who produce content that is now heard in 113 countries. You don't do these things with any expectation that you'll receive an award like this one, at least I don't. But when they happen, being acknowledged by your peers in this way is incredibly special, and it means a great deal to me. It strengthens my determination to ensure that every blind person feels empowered to assert their worth with confidence and has the tools and high expectations to live their best life. So thank you very much once again.
So the next one is the George Card Award. This individual has been and remains a strong and effective advocate for those of us who are blind, whether it's in the realm of employment, transportation, or pedestrian safety. This person willingly passes on knowledge and experience to guide many of our efforts. This person has been many interests, including music and sports. This individual is knowledgeable on so many levels and always brings encouraging words when needed, as well as great stories and many laughs along the way. This person works in city government and has made an impact on the national and international levels. This individual is continuing to be consulted on disability issues and concerns. This individual served 3 terms as president of ACB. This person worked to empower ACB's policies and procedures to provide clarity and consistency to all leaders. He has actively recruited people from diverse walks of life, cultures, and ethnicities to serve on leadership positions. This individual implemented the first version of private and independent voting of ACB. He has been a role model for many as we've observed the long career of service both within ACB and outside of ACB. Congratulations.
Go ahead.
Mitch Pomerantz. Mitch, would you like to come up to the stage, please? And we'll have Sharon read the plaque.
George Card Award, presented to Mitch Pomerantz in recognition of his steadfast dedication and leadership in ACB and beyond. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you.
Here's the mic. Would you like to say a few words?
Ladies and gentlemen, I said last night at the DKM reception that I am a member of the American Council of the Blind because of Durward K. McDaniel. He brought hundreds of us in from California in 1984. This is my 40th year in the American Council of the Blind. And I remember many conversations with M.J. Schmidt. Most of them were about the Dodgers because she was a Dodger fan. But she said, before I ran for president, or when I ran for president in 2007, she said, "You're a great guy, but I don't think we can have a former NFB member as president." This organization truly has been my life for the last 40 years, and what I said when I finished my 3rd and final term in 2013 is that I was going to cut back. I was going to try to get involved in some other activities, and I've done that. It's a tremendous honor to be given this award because of the time and energy, almost literally the blood, sweat, and tears that I have put into this organization. In 2011, I think I ran a board meeting from a hospital bed. And none of this would have happened without Donna, who is standing here. From the bottom of my heart, I thank everyone in this organization for your support. You know that I don't mince words, that I'm not afraid to say things that are unpopular. I don't say them to be mean-spirited. I say them because I believe them. And I will remain a member and an active participant in this organization for as long as I have the chance to live and breathe on this earth. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mitch. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? Of course.
This is the last one. All right, so here's our last one. The Durward K. McDaniel Ambassador. This individual has
I apologize. I unplugged the mic. It should be back now. I'm
Is
sorry,
it-
guys.
Is it back on? Oh, yeah, okay.
Who's not getting the award?
All right. This individual has been an active member on local, state, and national levels. This person has committed time and talent to work for improving life for blind and low vision people. This individual previously and currently serves in leadership positions on national, state, and local levels. This person's expertise and knowledge is very beneficial in all the different levels of service provided. This individual is willing to speak up even when opinions differ from the majority. This person is someone who takes on a role and does the work needed to achieve the goals. This individual's commitment to future leaders is reflected in the establishment of the Carolyn Garrett Youth Leadership Program. The Youth Leadership Conference is held every 2 years. It brings together students who are blind or visually impaired from all over the state for an intense weekend of activities emphasizing advocacy, community, and education. He uses his knowledge and time to make a difference. He lives out his commitment to improving the lives of blind people by volunteering time, knowledge, abilities to make ACB an organization which is financially secure, welcoming, and fulfilling its mission to improve the lives of blind and low vision people. Congratulations to Reverend Michael Garrett. Michael, please come up, and Sharon will read the award.
Durward K. McDaniel Ambassador Award, presented to Michael Garrett in recognition of his many years of service to ACB and his community. Jacksonville, Florida, July 11th, 2024.
Michael is on his way.
We should have an awards ditty, awards music playing in the background.
Congratulations, Michael.
Oh my goodness. I'm almost speechless. Oh, almost. You know, it is very humbling and very surprising. I never thought I would get such a prestigious award. You know, last night at the DKM reception, you know, Terry and Carla and Mitch were talking about Derwin K. McDaniel, and I was sitting there thinking about my contact with Derwin. And I remember when we were at a state convention, and somebody came and said, "Derwin wants to see you." And whoever was standing next to him said, "Uh-oh." And I remember going in and talking to him, and he was finding out more about me. He had heard about me, and he said, "I'm expecting big things from you." And I tried to live up to what he was expecting. And I've been a part of this organization for about 33 years. And it has been a big part of my life. I've invested time and a lot of dollars. But I only do that because I love this organization, I love the people, and I want to see people who are blind or visually impaired grow and be the best that they can. So thank you, ACB.
Here's Sharon's with your plaque.
You can't leave without your plaque now.
All right, that is all for us. Back to Sheila.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Wasn't that awesome? Congratulations to all of our winners. And next we have our interview that Scott Thornhill will be conducting. And then after that, we have a door prize and then the Braille raffle drawing. So don't go anywhere. So Scott, you're up.
Man, I tell you, these guys got me tearing up over here. I'm like all... You know, my mom used to, she would cry at long distance phone call commercials back in the day, you know. Some of you young folks don't know what a long distance phone call is, but man, they'd have them on there. Mom, anyway, that's how I am. I mean, it's usually an ESPN sports story gets me going, but man, those got me. So hope everybody's had a great time. Can we just give a big thank you to the staff of the hotel, first of all? They do such a good job and just wonderful service, and so thanks to each of you. We appreciate that. So I have the honor tonight of doing an interview. They only gave me about 2 hours to do this, so it's going to be trying to get all my questions in. But Judge David S. Tatel is on Zoom with us, so he's hopefully coming on shortly. He's been waiting a little bit, so if I hope the judge is on, so if you guys see him on the screen, y'all just kind of clap if you see him on the screen. Anybody, is it coming on, Rick, where we got him? Are you unmute, Judge, you good?
Can you hear me, Scott?
I can hear you great.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so Judge David S. Yeah, all right, let's go. Give him an applause, it's great. Has an esteemed career that seriously would take me about 2 hours to list everything, but yeah, but the judge is a tremendous career. He's been in and out of private practice as an attorney. He's worked for the federal government. He's done all kinds of things, but he I won't say finished up his career because he's still going. He's got more energy than I do. I probably couldn't keep up with him, but he served right at 3 decades on the U.S. Circuit Court for D.C., appeals court, which is a big deal. It's usually considered the second highest court in the United States of America, right behind the Supreme Court. And so Judge Tatel has had just a distinguished career working in the civil rights, the Office of Civil Rights, which in the federal government, and again in private practice, he's done a lot of wonderful things. But what makes it even more special is that Judge Tatel is blind. And Judge Tatel has retinitis pigmentosa, like many of us in this room, and has an incredible story to tell. And he has a book out as well called Vision, a memoir of blindness and justice.
It's a great title.
And so, Judge, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, Scott. Thank you.
Good.
It's a total pleasure to be here, and I hope you've all had a good dinner.
We have.
And I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely, and you've gotten to hear about all the award winners and all of that. We've got
Yes.
a lot of big things going on here at the American Council of the Blind. So, want to jump right in, and your book is incredible. Your story is amazing. We really don't have time to cover everything, but I want to ask you. Your father, I know from having listened to the book, by the way, is that your father passed away at a young age, I understand, and can you just share a little bit with us about that and what that, for you as a young man, sort of how that affected you?
Sure. My dad died when I was 15 years old. He was only 43. He was a brilliant scientist and an important force in my life, even though I was quite young. I spent a lot of time with my dad in his lab. He took me on scientific expeditions, including a 2-month expedition to Peru when I was 15. He was a very important force in my life, and sadly for me and my family, he died quite young.
Yeah.
And also it was the same year in which I was diagnosed with RP. My junior year in high school was not a particularly good year for young David Tatel. I lost my dad and was diagnosed with RP.
Yeah, and your love of science, though, has stayed with you your entire life, as I understand it.
Yes. My dad left me with an enormous gift, which is a deep love and interest in science. In fact, when I went off to college in the early 1960s, I was majoring in science. I was going to be a scientist like my dad.
Yeah.
And even though my life trajectory changed dramatically, science has still always been a big part of my life. I love science. I read about it. I love it.
Yeah. That's great, and I've enjoyed hearing about that. So you mentioned school. So you were brought up in the Washington, D.C. area.
Yes.
And then you went off to the University of Michigan. I'm sure much to the dismay of those probably the D.C. or thought you were going to go to a D.C. school, right? But anyway, headed off to the University of Michigan and then got your law degree from the University of Chicago.
Right.
Right?
Yes, that's right.
We have an Illinois contingent in the House, Judge. So,
good.
And a Michigan contingent, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's fine too. there they are.
Yeah, go blue, Michigan.
Oh wow, look at that. All right. So, and then you stayed in Chicago, and it's fascinating with your life story that through this time, of course, you did what many of us have done with vision loss, right? I think it's safe to say you sort of hid it from people. You did not want people to know.
Right.
You did everything you could to pretend as if you did not have any sort of vision challenge. Tell us a little bit about that, what it was like through those law school years, knowing you had the RP, and I'm sure it was progressing in certain ways, but tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Well, when I was younger, a teenager, like all teenagers, I wanted to be like my friends, and I didn't want to be different. And I did everything I could to, I didn't talk about my RP. It wasn't visible, so it was easy at that time.
Yeah.
And I developed lots of tricks, which I'm sure lots of people in this audience have also developed, to hide it and to compensate for it. And then when I got older and got to college and law school and started practicing law, I worried, this was the 1960s, I worried that someone with a disability, blindness, potential blindness, would have difficulty getting a job. I was determined to be a civil rights lawyer. That's what was motivating me. And I was worried that if people knew about my blindness, my declining eyesight, that it would harm my chances of practicing the kind of law I wanted to.
And as we look through those years for you along that same line, to some extent, what is it that made you switch from science to law?
The 1960s. I was captured by the 1960s. The civil rights movement was just, I was deeply interested in it. The University of Michigan was a center of controversy and discussion about civil rights. It was great. And, every day we read in the newspapers about the freedom rides and the marches and the sit-ins, and and the Kennedy administration was doing everything it could to manage things in the South. So I and my friends, we were just fascinated with it, and it just seemed to me that while I love science, I really wanted to be more involved as a citizen, and so I switched to political science, and then ultimately went to law school. Yeah.
So you kept science in there for a little while there.
Oh yeah,
Political science, right?
Yeah.
But so then you get out of school, you're practicing, or you're briefly practicing in private, and then you were with the Chicago Lawyers Committee, right? Or
Right.
getting with the group there, and I know you've worked with with the Washington Lawyers Committee or the National Lawyers Committee that was started, and tell us a little bit about that. That was sort of something that was new at the time.
Yes. The Lawyers Committee was created in 1963 at the request of President Kennedy, who wanted lawyers. He wanted the legal profession to send lawyers to the South to help in the civil rights movement, and that's what created the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And under its umbrella, hundreds and hundreds of lawyers went south and represented civil rights workers and demonstrators and people arrested during sit-ins. And then in the late 60s, in the wake of the riots that swept the country, from Watts to Detroit to Chicago, President Johnson asked the Lawyers Committee to expand nationwide, which they did, and they opened up offices across the country, including in Chicago, and I was the first director of the Lawyers Committee in the late 1960s.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned, Scott, Edie, my wife, and I, by then we had 2 little children, returned to Washington where I had grown up, and I ended up becoming director of the National Lawyers Committee. And then shortly after that, when Jimmy Carter was elected, became director of the Office for Civil Rights, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. And then we'll just say you had nothing you did wrong, but an unceremonious sort of departure from the office.
Right.
Is that fair? Is that diplomatic enough
Yes.
of me, Judge? Okay, all right.
That's nicely put.
You're welcome for that. No, but as politics goes, right, there was a little
Yes.
bit of a change of leadership, and so you found yourself, and you were, it seemed to always be highly sought after. Whenever you would find yourself without a job, you'd have people calling you saying, sounds like you need a place to land, so. But then you were in private practice, but it seems like you never really let go of that, or not that you should, but you never really let go of that drive you've had for civil rights and for helping with injustices and really where you were from the very beginning.
Yes, exactly, Scott. I mean, I stayed very much involved in the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights. And even while, I was practicing law, I was handling civil rights cases for them. And actually, much of my law practice was civil rights related. And so I continued it all the way through until, 1994 when I was nominated for the DC Circuit.
Yeah.
So civil rights has been the core of my professional life.
And then you really started, as your vision was worsening, right? And you were starting to come to terms, you did not want that cane. You were having nothing to do with the white cane.
Right.
One of my favorite stories, I'm teasing the book all the way through here. I'm going to get some people to buy this book, Judge.
Please
that's
do,
the plan
Scott.
here. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm helping you out here. But one of my favorite stories is you were in Manhattan. You had gotten your cane. But this is, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. I'm going to bounce back, so I'm jumping around the book. But you had gotten that white cane, and you happened to be in Manhattan. It really is one of my favorites. And this New York taxi driver comes by and literally ran over the tip of your cane, right? And he yells back at you, and he says, "Watch out, fella!" Right? And then what he said?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I ended up with a bent cane.
Yes. We've many of us have been through the bent cane syndrome.
Yes.
It's a serious issue, but
Right.
but I just, I'm fascinated. Then so you're in Washington, and you've Carter administration. You're practicing private practice. You've got a lot of things, but the rumor mill and those kind of things, right? We're going, and you built so many relationships. Can you just tell us a little bit about how important it was for you? You tie the relationships together from the 60s that stayed with you all the way through to, just people that you knew that ended up just respecting you. Tell us how important building of those relationships was for you.
Well, Scott, that's such a good question, and I love it because you obviously read the book very carefully, because a major theme in this book is the way, as Scott said, the way I developed, fortunately, colleagues and role models who just played a totally important role in my life. Not just in terms of my ability to learn from them, and the advice and counseling I got from them throughout my career, and the connections. I mean, the connections are a critical part of this. One job would lead inevitably to another job, and as I look back on my career, I'm pretty confident that had it not been for the colleagues and role models that I developed during those years, especially in the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, I would never have been nominated to the D.C. Circuit.
Yeah.
And I throughout the book, I from time to time give advice to younger lawyers, and one of my pieces of advice to younger lawyers is, look for an organization that you can throw yourself into and be committed to, and find role models and mentors that can help you all the way along your life.
Yeah, and for you, your vision loss, and you were still using the different tricks, holding on to elbows and just making sure you stayed in contact with people as you walked, and you thought you thought you were doing a great job of hiding it from them, and later on you'd talk to them, right, and they all kind of knew what was going on, but you didn't think they did. So that's probably a lesson to all of us, that we think we're fooling people sometimes. We're probably not, but.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I in the process of writing the book, Scott, I interviewed some of my friends, and I asked them the question, what did you know and when did you know it? The old Watergate question. What did they know and when did they know it? And I discovered exactly what you just said, which is I wasn't really fooling anybody.
Yeah, it's we think we are, but we're not most of the time, probably.
Yeah.
But I tell you, and we unfortunately had time. I am having to jump around a little bit, but you. So then you're in D.C. Things are sort of happening, and your name starts getting bantered around a little bit. Some of those relationships you had at the highest levels, right? The counsel to the president, and all these different folks that knew you from way back when and different times, And so the way the dominoes happened to fall, should we say, right? Your name was suggested as a potential Supreme Court nominee, but you didn't really know that till later necessarily. But then, but there was a D.C. Circuit Court judge, better known today by her initials than her name, probably. But Ruth Bader Ginsburg was on the D.C. Circuit Court, and as things would go, right? She just so happened to be nominated for the Supreme Court.
Right.
Opening up a position on the team, right? So you, So then, what were you thinking at that time, right? And I believe you say you made it no secret in Washington, D.C. that you were interested in that job.
Right.
So tell us about that.
So I was very happy in my law firm. I had a really interesting law practice, but for a lawyer, for many lawyers, particularly one like me who had spent most of his career litigating in the federal courts, being a federal judge was the epitome of the peak of a career, even though it's really hard to get them and it's very happenstance when it happens. But when my name was mentioned in the Washington rumor mill, you know how that works, I did let it be known that this was something I would actually be interested in. Fortunately for me, it worked out. I tell the story in the book that 2 weeks before I got the call from the White House, the Washington Post listed the 3 finalists for the DC Circuit, and my name wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
And as I say in the book, don't believe everything you read in the press.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you end up being nominated, and President Clinton, we will say he had a few challenges with his attorney general nominees, which played into this as well. The first few,
Right.
yeah. And so as those dominoes went and everything happened, and so then there you are, nominated, and what an amazing time that was in 1994 when you were nominated, and 109 days after essentially being nominated, you get confirmed by a voice vote in the U.S. Senate, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Amazing.
That doesn't happen today.
Yeah, imagine that today, right? A voice vote in the U.S.
today,
Senate.
if I had been nominated today, you probably would have had the vice president needed to break the tie.
Yeah. And you make no secret about this, that you come from, and if this is unfair, right? You and I had a pre-call. You told me what you would do if I asked you a question you didn't want to answer, so I'm waiting for it. But you make no secret of it in the book that you come from a more, let's say, left-leaning political viewpoint, if that's fair. Is that fair?
I think I call it progressive.
Progressive, okay, all right.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Well, it's fine with me. You're the judge. I mean, you were a
myself
federal
as
judge. I've been in this job for 4 months, Judge. You were a federal judge. You call it whatever you want. Okay, we'll go with progressive. That's fine, sure. But when you became a judge, I was fascinated, and I still am, by the fact that you said yes, that you had certain viewpoints, right? And then I'm going to ask about your blindness and a couple other things, and then they're going to kick me off this microphone. But you became a judge, and you said you really didn't have a judicial philosophy other than,
Right.
and I found this fascinating, you wanted to protect the individual rights from the Leviathan of government, which was said by one of your law professors. Now, for those of you who don't know about the word Leviathan, just Google it. I can't spell it for you, but Google it. It's not good. It's not a good, anyway. But so you really had this philosophy of protecting the individual rights. Tell us about that philosophy and sort of becoming a judge, the other judges you were working with, how they received you, how your blindness, all of that, sort of how you first got in there and how you were handling things, knowing that your vision was deteriorating as well.
Well, by the time I was appointed to the DC Circuit, I was using a cane.
Yeah.
So, and I'd been using one for quite a while. So everybody knew I was blind.
Yeah.
The president didn't say anything about it in his press release, but the press reported it as the appointment of the first blind man to a U.S. Court of Appeals. And I think that was true. It was really quite fascinating, Scott. I mean, nobody on the DC Circuit had ever, there were 9 judges, some Democrats, some Republicans, but they didn't have very much familiarity with blind people.
Yeah.
But it was fascinating to see the way the court adapted to my blindness. It didn't take, and they respected my desire not to make a big deal of it. They understood kind of where I was coming from, but they became instinctively helpful in ways that were not insulting. Like, for example, I'd only been there a year or two when, let me just give you an example. When we finished hearing a case at oral argument, we go to a conference room and discuss it and decide the case. And sometimes in those conferences, people will pull a law book off the shelf. We meet in a little library. And when I'm there, they just automatically read it out loud. I mean, they didn't make a big deal of it,
Yeah.
They just did it. Same thing in court. If a lawyer said in response to a question, well, take a look at section 725, one of my colleagues would often say, counsel, why don't you read that?
Yeah.
And it was interesting to me that, my blindness sort of got baked into the court, but no one ever talked about it. It was a good example of how an institution can accommodate to a blind person.
Yeah.
And you know, a court is not like a corporation, right? There's no hierarchy. Everybody's there we all have lifetime appointments. We all have the same vote. So it just happened. There wasn't any leadership to it. It was a pretty good example of
And you
how this
managed,
should work, can and should work.
amen to that. And you managed to have wonderful relationships with people that may have agreed with you on the progressive viewpoint, and those who may not have, but you still had very good relationships with these judges, and you could give feedback back and forth. And I found that to be very encouraging and terrific. You talked about a couple of cases where you didn't recuse yourself, maybe you should have. How did your blindness affect you as a judge?
I tried during my 30 years on the court to be a judge, to apply the law to the facts, and to not let anything else influence my decision, my race, my religion, or my blindness. I really worked hard at that. Now, there were a couple of instances when my blindness did affect, I thought affected either my ability to handle a particular case or the public's perception of it. And the public's perception is important, even though, you know, we all know that the public's perception about blind people leaves a lot to be desired. There's still a public perception that there are a limited number of things blind people can do that we can't perform at the high level of the rest of society. And so in one or two cases, I worried that the presence of a blind judge on the court might lead people to think that the DC Circuit had decided a case because one of the judges was blind. That particular case was the one involving whether or not the Treasury Department had to make paper currency accessible to the blind. And so it was only 3 times in my 30 years where I thought this was an issue. And it was not, I want to emphasize this to everybody there. It was not any doubt on my own part that I could decide the case, even though I was blind. I had no doubt about that. It was whether or not the public would question the integrity of my court's decision. As unreasonable as that was, I did not want to harm the integrity of the court. And so, I made a decision to recuse myself in cases like that. And looking back on it, I have to tell you, I think they're hard decisions for a blind person to say, I shouldn't do this case because I was blind. But because the public perception of the court is so important, I decided to recuse myself. Someday, Scott, someday that won't have to happen. Someday a judge will be able to say, I'm blind, I can decide this case, and the public would have no problem with it. And if that happens, we will have made a huge amount of progress.
Well, amen.
Yeah.
And Judge, I'm not sure what year that case was, but I'll tell you, it looks like it's only taken about 25 years or so. I think in a couple of years we may have a $10 bill that's got some tactile features to it. So we're.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the idea that the government has taken this long. When I go to another country, I can tell the difference between, like I go to Mexico, I can tell the difference between a 20 peso note and a 100 peso note. They're different sizes. I can't in this country. It's so humiliating in a taxi cab. Remember when we used to use paper currency? It's so humiliating to have to say to the cab driver, is this a 5 or a 10?
Yeah.
Well, and why does the government put us in that position?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Although, and I don't want to leave that impression with the folks here, you do in your heart believe government is a force for good when it's done right. So that's something I also want to
absolutely. Make sure. An enormous force for good.
Yeah. So, and I know you believe in that. And so there's so much that we could get into, and I'm fascinated by it because, I wanted to be an attorney at one point, Judge, and it just didn't turn out too well. but
Can,
one
can
of
I,
the attorney.
yeah, I know you're short of time, but can I just make one point that's very important to me? Okay. Because it has to do with why I wrote this book and what I hope this book will do. You know, I said in answer to one of your earlier questions, Scott, that role models were very important to me as a young lawyer, and even when I became older. But back in the 50s and 60s, I didn't have any blind role models. There weren't any blind federal appeals court judges. There weren't any blind partners in major law firms. I didn't have that as a role model. And as I look back on my career, you know, I don't second guess young David Tatel's decision to try to downplay or cover up his declining sight as much as he could. I think he had a good reason to fear its effect on his job, on his future. And it was discussed. And I think that had I had a blind role model, had there been a blind judge, maybe I wouldn't have behaved that way. Maybe I could have thought, gee, look, I can do that just like he or she can. That's why I wrote this book. When it gets right down to it, what I hope is, I hope by telling my story as candidly as I can, in the context of a book that also describes the career of a federal judge who performed at the highest levels of our federal judiciary. I hope that my book will provide the inspiration for young people who are going through what I did. I hope they'll read this book and say, I can do that. And you know what else I hope? I hope that partners in law firms who hire lawyers or CEOs of corporations who hire, I want them to read the book. And I want them to understand that when they're making a hiring decision or a promotion decision, and there's 3 or 4 qualified people and one of them is blind, that they should make the decision on the merits. Just pick the best person. That's what I hope this book will do.
That's great. Thank you for that. And I had the privilege of being, going to a book talk of yours at a law firm in DC, right. And I got to tell you, it was a packed house. And so I asked, there was the young lady that was interviewing you, who was one of your clerks, former clerks, who's an attorney with the firm now, and the gentleman in front of me, of course, I didn't know him, and still tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, can you get me to the judge?" You know, so he walked me up to you. It turned out he was another one of your clerks, and I could just tell with the respect that they had for you that interaction and that just the respect was tremendous. I would be remiss and if I did not ask you about this final part of your journey.
I know what you're getting.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes.
So you're not ashamed of your age, and you shouldn't be. My gosh, but at the age, if I'm correct, of 77, you decided that cane was not enough, even though you had traveled all around. Cane wasn't quite doing for you what you needed it to do, and you decided to get a guide dog at 77.
Yes.
And so I had to laugh when it said that you had to have 3 references.
Right.
and you had to prove that you could buy dog food and things like that, right? So I'm not for those, I know that may be a difficulty. I'm certainly not making light of it, but it's interesting that, right, those guide dog schools are making sure no matter who's getting the dog that they're being vetted pretty well. But you got Vixen because Vixen was out of the V litter, right?
Yeah.
And so tell us about Vixen. Just give us a little bit about Vixen and what's changed in your life with Vixen.
Yeah. So the last chapter in the book is called "The Dog That Changed My Life," and that's not an overstatement. Vixen, she's now almost a 7-year-old German Shepherd. She was bred and trained at Fidelco in Connecticut, and she's given me and my wife, both of us. Well, let me just say, you know, I've been married for 59 years this August, and and I'm sure there are a lot of people in your audience there who have had the same experience I have. And you know, Edie, that's my wife's name. Blindness Yes, I was the person who was losing my sight and then eventually lost it. But we experienced blindness together. You know, it was part of our marriage. And I say that because the Vixen has benefited both of us because she's given me and therefore Edie a level of independence we haven't enjoyed for 40 years. And I'll just give you one example. We live in the country and we love to walk and take long walks. And up until we got Vixen, we went on our walks together, which was fine. We like to walk together. But now, when I want to go for a walk and Edie wants to garden, I go for a walk with Vixen. And so we both lead more independent lives. Now, we still walk together, which we love to do, but she's provided this independence for us that has been quite remarkable for our lives. I mean, there's just so many other things. Yeah. And it's not just walking. It's just, it's the whole daily life that Vixen has enhanced for both of us.
And I know that you have a sign on your desk, as I understand it, that says, "Ask me about my dog."
Right.
Right?
Yes,
So,
Edie bought that for me.
And listen, there are some folks in this room that probably might have a similar sign on their desk or on their somewhere that says, "Ask them about their dog."
Yeah.
Just amazing. Anyway, but that, I know that's super important to you, and I wanted to make sure we got that in there.
Yeah.
Judge, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity and for time with you. You're a treasure for us, and just a wonderful example of what can be done. We truly thank you, and I hope that this is as one of many conversations we will have. And the American Council of the Blind, we count us as a friend, and it counts you as a friend. Anything we can do to help, we do have the QR code that'll be distributed to all of our folks, and we'll make sure that's all for a bit of a discount on the book, which is great. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. And I just want to say thank you, and we'll give you a big round of applause. And look, we can't wait till the next time we can talk. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Scott. I've enjoyed this enormously. Thank you very much. Great question.
Thank you.
And let's you and me stay in touch.
We will stay in touch, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Give him another round of applause. Oh, my gosh. You know, an ACB has an awesome new executive director with his interviewing, don't we? Oh, wow. What? Kenneth wants us to come to Trinidad? Okay, we can, let's set it up, Kenneth, okay? All right, while we're waiting for the Braille form drawing, we have a door prize. And so the middle door, Kenneth, middle door. We're going to give the middle door. Or the men's restroom. I heard the door broke. There is $100 cash from the Washington Council for Katie Flake. So is Katie Flake in the room, or is she virtual? Virtual, okay. Katie Flake, you've got $100 coming to you, so congratulations. Virtual $100 Scott's gets. So she'll get a virtual $100. All right, are we ready for the Braille form drawing? All right, who's doing it?
Michael and I.
All right, they're coming.
I've been stirring the cauldron.
No, I want to hear it. Come on, Mike. First of all, I want to thank all of you who bought Braille Forum raffle tickets. I'm told that we sold out of all of our tickets. Now, that's the kind of participation I like. Who wants to win the grand prize? Who wants to win any prize? All right, are you ready? This $500 winner.
5 large coming up.
We just had a talk with this fella earlier in the week. Tyson Ernst. And he bought the ticket from Nancy Fila. My goodness.
Did you guys hear that already? Yeah. Did I grab him? I gotta talk softer. What did he win?
Alan Peterson sold this ticket, and to someone sitting at our table, artist Bazin, $1,000.
Michael went and I went into a different room now, okay?
Yes. Next year, I'm going to buy my tickets from Alan Peterson. Yeah. Alan, why don't you just sell all of them, okay? The $5,000 winner, Larice Van Berkham. From Williston, North Dakota. So I'm sure she's going to be very happy. Thank you, ACB, for your contribution. Thank you for helping us help the ACB Braille Forum.
Yeah. All right, good job. All right, congratulations to the winners. Haven't we had a wonderful banquet? I want to thank everyone for being here. If you plan to attend the Florida Council of the Blind Bon Voyage Party, it's been moved to Clearwater. Give me about 10 minutes to get there. And then we're going to open the room. The Clearwater room is on 3rd floor, past St. John's at the end of the hallway. If you go farther than Clearwater, you're going into the wall. And my nephew, Ryan Cordell, will be performing. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you so much for giving me the honor for emceeing tonight. And thank you for coming to Jacksonville.
A logo, ACB in print and braille, American Council of the Blind, together for a bright future.